Welcome to Channel 18 News. I'm Jim Rogers. Kenneth Wayne Shaw, age 53, of Como, was arrested Thursday evening after a Hopkins County deputy spoke with two individuals at a residence on County Road 2320 near Como. Shaw is in Hopkins County Jail charged with injury to a child elderly disabled with intent bodily injury. He is being held on a $30,000 bond. His charges are a third-degree felony. According to two individuals, Shaw assaulted his disabled ex-wife, who is now his girlfriend. The ex-wife was sitting in a wheelchair with visible injuries on both arms, and the officer observed blood on her shirt, according to the deputy's report. The ex-wife stated that Shaw grabbed her by the arms and, quote, slung, unquote, her. She also stated that he pushed her wheelchair up against the hallway wall. The ex-wife said she is paralyzed completely on her right side after 2 strokes. She's also diabetic. Shaw denied hurting her, saying he was only helping her out of the bathtub. However, he had blood on the back of his shirt as well. The Student Code of Conduct Handbook for Sulphur Springs ISD has been updated to reflect both specific Sulphur Springs ISD administrative procedures and practices, along with new legal requirements defined by the Texas Education Code. Changes to the handbook include changes in the notification requirement to parents regarding violations that may result in placement in alternative classroom situations or expulsion. There are various levels of discipline for the student. Discipline can be ISS or in-school suspension. In-school suspension removes the student from the regular classroom and places them in a separate classroom or special classroom on the same campus. OSS, or out-of-school suspension, removes the student from the educational environment for a period of 3 days, as the student is considered sent home for that period of time. DAEP, or Disciplinary Alternative Education Program, is housed on the Austin campus. DAEP is the maximum discipline that allows the student to remain in the educational environment in the district. Rarely is a student expelled from school. It's rare for that expulsion because the expulsion means the student cannot return to campus or the educational environment. Normally, a student that is expelled is then placed in DAEP, according to Josh Williams, Assistant Superintendent. Williams stated that the district wanted to educate all children. However, a felony with moral turpitude is usually expulsion with no recourse. One additional factor that must be considered when assigning suspension or placement or expulsion requires the district to consider whether the action is mandatory or discretionary. Williams said one has to examine the intent of the student. If the student intended to do what they did, if they know what they were doing at the time of the act, then that student would be placed in an alternative educational environment. If the student is special education or a 504 student, one who has physical or mental limitations that affects their actions, and the action was caused by the disability, then the student will not be penalized. If the disabled student behavior was caused by the school's failure to implement the student's behavior plan, then the student will not be penalized. One major change in the student handbook calls for a change in transportation policy for students placed in DAEP. In recent years, a student that went to the Austin campus could be transported by school bus to that campus. Now students in DAEP will not be provided transportation by the school district unless the student has a disability that requires related transportation services in the student's IEP. The decision to not transport the DAEP student is a local school decision, as is allowed by the Texas Education Code. Here's Don with sports.
Good news for Wildcats football fans. The lone scrimmage against Liberty Ilo scheduled for Friday, August 19th has been moved from Texarkana to Sulphur Springs. Wildcats football coach Greg Owens announced that change on Thursday afternoon. He said the Leopards are getting new turf on their field and it won't be ready in time for the scrimmage. The August 19th scrimmage will now be at Gerald Prim Stadium. Coach Owens is expected to announce the official start time and details of the scrimmage later, but he indicated it would probably start next Friday at around 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. This scrimmage will be the only one for the Wildcats before they start the regular season. They lost a week of August practice and one scrimmage due to having spring football in May. Wildcats defensive coordinator Tristan Abram had one thought on his mind as the fourth Wildcats football practice was wrapping up Thursday night. Friday is the first day the Wildcats can put on pads, and pads mean contact. A scrimmage is planned for 7 p.m. Friday. Coach Abram called Friday's practice the first game of the year, and he added that the Wildcats would be able to pop one another. Concerning where the Wildcats' defense is right now, Coach Abram said the emphasis now is on polishing the scheme. He said pretty much everything that the Wildcats would be doing this year on defense is already in. Coach Abram said the kids have done a good job learning it, and now they have the chance to get really good at it. He has several players in new positions this year. Still, he said the defense has the ability to be pretty good. Coach Abram called them athletic. He said team leaders on defense are emerging. He named senior inside linebacker Easton Silman, who played mostly offense last year. And Coach Abram called junior cornerback Tyson Goodson an emotional leader for the defense. He said he expected big things from cornerback junior Terrell Turman. Coach Abram said he has been impressed by sophomore DQ Pitts. He also mentioned Tyrese Williams, D. Dugan, Jackson Renault, Mason Cleveland, and Daniel Marino. Coach Abram also likes Lawrence Worth on defense, but Wildcats offensive coaches also like that junior. The Wildcats team tennis squad lost a squeaker 9-8 to Sherman Thursday afternoon at the Wildcats tennis complex. The Bearcats won last year's match 17-2. The Wildcats are now 1-1 for the season. 2 matches were not played by agreement of the 2 coaches. Wildcats coach Tony Martinez said the heat affected both teams. Sherman was playing its second match of the day. Coach Martinez said the thirsty players went through about 8 gallons of water. For the second straight match, Coach Martinez was impressed by the play of freshman Jonah Kirkpatrick. He also mentioned Blaine Flemons. Also, for a second straight match, the girls' doubles team of Carolina Espinoza and Jaspin Johnson won their doubles match. The Wildcats will be playing 2 matches next Tuesday. They will face Jacksonville next Tuesday morning in Tyler, and then will play John Tyler in the afternoon.
Thanks for watching Channel 18 News. Have a great evening.